Hey Dakota. Yeah, it's a tough assignment, no doubt, no doubt. I mean, there's a lot of requirements that really challenge you to really concentrate on what is being asked in each composition. Other than that, as students and learning typographic hierarchy, in addition to using the grid, it's asking a lot. So this is a tough assignment. There's no question. It's also one of the most rewarding assignments you'll ever do in school. I promise you that. It's using the grid and establishing a typographic hierarchy are two of the top 10 most important qualities in a designer. Establishing typographic hierarchy and establishing and maintaining use of a consistent grid in your compositional work are, as I said, probably two of the top 10 skills a graphic designer can possess. So we've got it all right here in this assignment. So it is tough. I agree. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the work. I I think you're doing a good job. I think you're developing a wonderful understanding of how to create and establish typographic hierarchy. I think there's some things that we can do to improve the compositions and to improve a couple of different things. Now, the first composition is, of course, no contrasts in size or weight. All hierarchy is based on grouping, right? And I think that's good. I think that you've got the headline and you've got three different groups. Now, one thing I would recommend here is that these groups, like for instance, I think that the line spacing for these being associated, I think that the line spacing here, the leading between these three elements here could be closed down a little bit. So in other words, bring that line a little closer to the lat line, likewise here. Keep that space established, then again, bring these three together, and then again, bring these three together, so that the viewer is absolutely positive that we have a headline and 1, 2, 3 different subgroups on the page. Okay, in the next one, second design, we have introduction of one new size and one new weight. There's your new size, there's your new weight. Everything else remains the same. I can see your adherence to the grid. Good job. It's a pretty good layout. I think that you're establishing a good understanding of what the requirements are for this assignment. One of the things I'm seeing here is that you don't have a solid margin established. So right now, your margin, the margin on the left side of the page should be equal on the right side of the page, and it's not, because right now Ford Mustang Boss is really encroaching on that page edge. So you're breaking the grid there. You're also breaking the margin. Right? That's creating some uncomfortable visual tension and forcing a lot of the visual weight in this composition to the right-hand side, almost creating an imbalance, and that's simply because that white space right there isn't preserved. And the mind picks up on it. You don't have to be a designer. You have to be a designer to describe it like I just did, but you don't have to be a designer for your mind to look at this, for this to be perceived as a mistake. And it's simply for that just little bit of misalignment there. And subconsciously, even non-designers pick up on this, and it creates an uncomfortable visual tension. Okay, in the third composition, you're tasked with creating multiple contrasts in weight and scale, and I think you've done that very nicely here. The problem with this is that you've got several different alignments in the same composition. Okay, so right here you've got the headline, and then you've got this fully restored. They're right aligned, right? Then over here, this section right here is right aligned. Here, you're left aligned. And then here, you're center aligned. So this is throwing, the mind is going like this. It's getting thrown back and forth. And the lack of consistency in your alignment, again, is creating some uncomfortable visual tension. My recommendation here would be to just establish an alignment and stick with it. So if you're going to do left align, let's get that over there. Let's bring this closer, this fully restored. Let's bring this closer to Ford Mustang, because they're almost far enough apart that they almost don't look related. So bring this over, left align it right there, okay? Then establish this as left align this, place them in your grid with multiple contrasts in weight and scale, all right? Then finally, we have this one, multiple contrasts in weight and scale with the cropped image bleeding in two places. Right now, Dakota, we only have this image bleeding in one spot, and that's right here. So don't forget, this has to bleed in 2 spaces. You're almost there, almost, but that's not quite there. So if we just move that car over a little bit so that hangs off that page, you will meet that requirement of 2 different bleed areas. Boy, I'll tell you something. I think this is a mistake. I think it's a mistake. Oh, also, we've got multiple alignments here, too. We got center, we got left, we got centered, and I'm not real sure if that's one line or 2. So really think about how to make organizational sense out of this, okay? I think it's a mistake placing text over the image. I think it downplays the image and reduces the visual impact of that image itself. I would recommend not placing type over the image. I have an example to show you, and I also want to bring your attention to the announcements area. Dakota, I don't know if you've looked at this announcement yet, but it's welcome to week 3. Go through this. Once you're done going through it, go through it again. Yes, it's that important. This is a fantastic lecture. Good video here introducing the week. Then you have this wonderful introduction on how to design using the grid. It's a nice lecture here. Got a couple of nice resources there. This video here shows you how to set up and use a modular grid using Adobe InDesign. If you're not using InDesign, you're probably using Illustrator. In that case, just Google how to set up a grid using Illustrator. It's really super easy to do. If you have any questions at all, let me know. I'll be glad to demonstrate. But here's some 3x3 grids and how we can use these 3x3 grids. If you just imagine these blocks where you place elements, whether they're type, image. Okay, so this just shows you how you can establish good alignment using this 3x3 grid. Then over here, you've actually got some live examples here of a page layout with the grid superimposed right over it, so you can see how this layout behaves with the grid. Okay, a couple more resources here. Now I want to show you an example. The example I've included, it is in the this discussion board. It's right up here. If you find my post in the discussion board, you'll find that piece. Okay, the example piece. I left out really great example piece. Here it is right here. Okay, so, and I've got it right here as a PDF. So we can see here. So let's take a look at what's going on. So in the first design, we have no contrasts in scale or weight. All hierarchy is based on grouping, right? So we've definitely got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different groups. In this particular composition, I think I probably would have moved this closer to get even spacing between each group. Okay, then in the second composition, 1 new size and 1 new weight. There's your new size. There's your new weight, establishing even deeper typographic composition. Right now, we do have a mixed alignment here. These are left aligned, these are right aligned. Not too bad, it's not too terribly uncomfortable, but I definitely would have right aligned these. I would have pulled this over and aligned that to that right margin. Okay, and then in this, I think this is a really good composition right here. This is multiple sizes, multiple weights. Okay, and this really guides, and the whole idea here is to guide the eye through the composition, right? This is very clearly the designer wants you to look here first, here second, here third, and then the particulars right here. Now then the fourth, we have multiple contrasts in weight and scale, but we've also introduced the image bleeding in 2 areas. Okay, so those are my recommendations, and I think you're off to a wonderful start. I think with some fine tuning, we'll really get there. The important thing here is that you are showing, there we go. You are showing an understanding of how to create hierarchy, how to create different areas of importance on the page, and how to establish those areas so that the viewer knows exactly, as a designer and looking at the composition, where do you want them to look first, second, third, fourth, and so on. So the order of importance is being established. I think it can be fine-tuned a little bit based on the recommendations and comments that I've gone through in this video. So again, questions at all, comments, concerns, any of the above, give me a holler and I'll be glad to address. Okay, good job, thanks.